I wanted to show you that we've got caution tape hanging in different corners of this basement, and each piece of caution tape, which we let hang down here about head high here, goes up to something that we're going to need to access later on once the drywall ceiling is put in. And as you can see, this piece of caution tape is tied off to a shutoff valve that goes to an outside spigot. Alright, that goes to the outside hose bib. We're going to have to be able to get to that after the drywall covers this entire ceiling. So we're marking the locations of all of the shutoffs and other things that we have to get to later on after drywall with this caution tape. And what happens is our drywallers will cut a 1-inch hole around this piece of caution tape and let it stick through the finished drywall ceiling. And at a later date, we'll cut open a 6x9 hole where these are coming out of the drywall ceiling, and we'll put in a little access panel so that the homeowners can go up and still turn those shutoffs when the drywall's done and the job's finished. They'll have a little access panel to all of these trouble areas. So any place that we had a shutoff, we had one there. Take a walk over here. I'll show you some other things that we put the caution tape on. We got one in this closet. Now this isn't a shutoff, but this is a box full of electrical wires that goes to the first floor. All right. And we couldn't disconnect all those wires because it would have turned off outlets and switches and doorbell transformers and other stuff that control electric in the first floor of the house. So we're going to leave the box there, and since we can't bury it, hide it up in the new drywall ceiling inside this closet, we have to mark it and cut around that box when the drywallers come to hang the drywall on this closet ceiling. So we put a piece of caution tape on that to let the drywallers know not to cover that, but to cut that blue box out. All right, cut the drywall around that blue box so that after the job's completed, the homeowners can go up in there and access those wires if need be. Very important never to bury junction boxes that have live wires in them. All right, you have to have access to those. They cannot be covered with drywall. So you cut around them, drywall around them, and then put a blank cover on them later that you can take off and service those wires. All right, let's take a look at some other caution tapes. Here we got another caution tape in the office. Now our plumber put this piece of caution tape in here because he has installed up inside the soffit shutoffs. You can see up there, zoom in there. He's got a shutoff handle there going to the PEX plumbing, and there's another one right there. And we got the caution tape tied on too. Now we're going to put one access panel up there to service both of those shutoffs at a later date. We're going to put it right on the side of the soffit, right on the framing there, and well, we're either going to put it on the side or we're going to put it on the bottom of the soffit. We're not sure yet. But we're going to have to cut in an access panel later to access those two shutoffs. Once the drywall's hung, we got to be able to get to those. So there's another sample, another example of why you need to use some caution tape to have your drywallers cut around. Because if you don't put this caution tape on there, what's going to happen is you're going to forget where these things are, and if you ever have to service them, you're going to be cutting holes all over your drywall ceiling trying to find these shutoffs, trying to find these junction boxes at a later time. So just mark them and tell your drywallers, if you're subbing the drywall out, to cut a 1-inch hole around the piece of caution tape and let it hang right through the drywall, and then at a later time you'll know exactly where to cut in and install your access panels. So there's another sample there. And one more example over here, and I think that'll be enough examples for you. We've got another one of those junction boxes. This is a round one full of wires that go to the first floor that we cannot bury. So we've tied the caution tape on that box, telling the drywallers to please cut around that round box when you hang the ceiling in the bathroom. And then what we'll do later is we'll go back and we'll put a blank cover on there, which will enable the homeowners or the electrician, whoever's going to service those wires, it'll give them an easy access to all those wires at a later date. You can see that there's nut caps up there and all kinds of stuff up in there, all kinds of live wires that may need to be worked on at a later date, so we cannot bury that box. All right, that's a code violation. We have to cut around it and put a blank cover on it if we can eliminate it, and we could not eliminate that box. All right, and one last example, since it's right outside the bathroom. One more shutoff up there. Goes to an outside hose bib. We're going to want to be able to turn that off in the winter so that the pipes don't freeze. So we're going to have to be able to get our hand up in the drywall ceiling. So we tied a piece of caution tape on the shutoff, and our drywallers will cut right around the caution tape.